Hello, my friends. Welcome to this episode of Slow Down and Thrive. And for the first time, I'm actually doing this on video. So if you're listening to this on just as a podcast, there is also a video available on YouTube. So for me, I've realized the easiest way to record this podcast is trying it through video, because if it's just audio, for some reason I stop and I start and I and an and take pauses, and that just requires a lot of editing. And I was talking with a friend the other day about what's the easiest way to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And we were talking about each of us having a podcast and going, you know what, the easiest way is to do a video. So here I am attempting a video, and it's really nice to be back here, because I don't know if you follow the podcast, but it has been a while. I haven't done an episode for quite a while, because I just didn't have the impulse. And for me, that's really important. I never want to be doing something for the sake of having to do it. I just feel like the energy needs to be behind it, because otherwise, as I say, it's pushing shit uphill. And my whole thing with anything that I do is about alignment. And that's how I learned that that's the best way for me to be in business. And I've had a lot of episodes about making sure you're in alignment with any action you're taking. So for whatever reason, the alignment went out of doing more podcast episodes. I actually recorded a beautiful episode about 6 months ago with a lovely woman about money mindset. So I will hopefully release that soon. But again, it just didn't feel like the right timing to release that episode or to come and chat. And then last night in the bath, where all good things, I either get really good ideas in the shower or I get inspired anywhere I'm around water. So if I'm walking by the beach or mostly showers, to be honest. But last night I was in the bath and I was like, you know what, I really feel like doing an episode. So without too much thought, I've literally just opened my laptop. I've given my puppy a chew toy, so hopefully she doesn't bark too much. And here I am. So I just feel like it's more important than ever to be slowing down and listening to our inner knowing. Because I think as the energy that we're in right now and the times that we're in right now get crazier and crazier, I think it's really important to almost not get caught up in the fastness of everything. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but time is just like, it's warping. It's either going really, really fast, or sometimes I've noticed it even slows down, where I'm like, was that day a year or is it 24 hours? So I think it's more and more important to really ground into our own energy. There's a lot to focus on out there, obviously. So it's really cultivating those practices to come back into our body. And another reason why I haven't been too much on this podcast is I have been doing a lot of that. So really taking the whole slow down thing very extreme and being very slow. Not something I'd recommend to everyone. I think there's a lot of action that could still be taken. The whole slow down and thrive principle is still about taking action. It's about taking aligned action. But I have been very slow at not taking too much action. I've still been doing my art business, which has been really lovely, and doing a couple of paintings at the moment for a gallery here where I live in Byron Bay. So I'm still doing lots of things on the creative front, but I feel a real call to sort of come back to this slow down and thrive ethos that I have and feel very passionate about still. And the more and more I see people out there just really being uncentered and ungrounded because there's so much going on. Our lives are so busy. And I think when you're really busy and you've got a lot going on, it's just really hard to hear yourself in that. And whether you listen to your intuition or your higher self or spirit guides, whatever you want to call it, I think now more than ever, it's really important to take those moments to stop and to take 5 minutes. And my favorite practice at the moment is not even meditating. It is just sitting and doing nothing. And I just love to just observe, like I can observe and look around my house and just, it's like I can feel my body then tuning into what's the unseen happening around me. So yes, my eyes are taking in visually what's going on, but also just feeling what's in my body. Maybe there's emotions moving through, but also just kind of listening to the whispers of what's happening energetically. And that's when I notice my body start clearing things, and it starts to kind of shift things a lot quicker, because we are in a lot of crazy energy right now. So I'm assuming if you're listening to this podcast and you're attracted to what I'm doing, then you're probably a spiritual person like I am, and you're aware of this big consciousness shift that's going on. And it just feels like we're right at the precipice of a big change, which is being reflected in a lot of changes happening in our social environment, political environment, even just our environment. So to just tune into ourselves, I think, is the most important thing at this moment, because that's where your guidance is. That's where your wisdom is. Like, I don't know about you guys, but my mind always wants to find out what's going on from outside. It's like, someone just tell me what to do. What should I be doing? But it's everything that we need to know is inside of us, right? We get told that over and over again. And the more that you can just sit and be still, even if it's 5 minutes, I know you're probably all very busy. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes if you can, I think makes a massive difference. And it makes a massive difference to your energy as well. I don't know. I find that if I just stop 5-10 minutes when I have a really busy day and I have this idea in my mind of, I've got to do this, got to do that, got to do that. By the way, where are all those gotters coming from? Where are all the I should, that's, again, something really fun to look at, being like, well, why do I think I need to do that? That's something I've been really examining, is getting rid of all the shoulds, because my mind has a lot of them. Oh, I should be painting. I should be doing this. Oh, I should be reaching out. I should be doing that. And I think it's endless. And so if you actually just sit still for 5-10 minutes and really get in touch, be like, oh, actually, what is important about this moment? And what is it that I really actually need to be doing today? Versus getting caught up in what the mind is convinced it needs to do. Because a lot of the time, what's at the core of that is wanting to control things and wanting to feel safe. So it's taking action in order to sort of corral and coerce the unknown, right? Like, we as humans are not very good at sitting in the unknown. So often we're taking action, we're doing this thing, doing that to control and to create safety. So by taking those 5-10 minutes to actually tune in every day, morning, night, whenever it is, and being like, actually, what's in alignment for me? What do I actually want to be doing? What's the intuitive drive here? And why am I not following that? And what is it that my mind thinks will happen if I follow that more intuitive desire or that intuitive thought or idea or action? And whatever the mind has an issue with, is it true? So, you might get an intuitive thing of, I just want to, take the afternoon off. And of course the mind would be like, oh my gosh, we can't do that. We're going to fall behind. We're not going to be, it'll come up with whatever your particular reasons are for not being able to do that. But if it's really an intuitive, strong drive to need to just take the afternoon off as the example, can you allow yourself to actually follow that? Because that's where the sweetness is. That's where the good stuff in life is not knowing why you need to take the afternoon off. I mean, it might be obvious. You might be really exhausted and you just need to sleep. Or it might be, there's so many reasons why your intuition would be saying to do something. And sometimes it really doesn't make sense to the mind. And so that's something I've learned and still learning. I've learned it over and over again, and I'm still learning that most of the time intuitive desires and actions don't make sense. And you just have to trust. You just have to get to this point of going, okay, I need to trust that I'm being told the right thing here, and to follow it and see what happens. And I think if you're so busy that you're distracting yourself from all those nudges and those little signs that pop up during the day, like I'm getting to the point now where I'll just see a word of something, like I'll just see it written on a sign out, and I'll be like, oh, I know what that means, and this means I have to do this. Or an Instagram post will come up and I'll be really drawn to it, and it has information that then leads me to the next thing. And it's just this constant kind of flow of communication coming from my intuition to follow. And the more that I've gotten really slow and rested, the more just naturally in tune I am with that. And hopefully, yes, it feels like coming out of that very slow phase that I've been in, to really follow that more action-orientated, intuitive drive. Because honestly, guys, my intuition for the last 6 months to a year has just been like, just relax. Just chill. And I'm like, yeah, but we need to do the things to create, the money and the safety and like all these things. And my intuition's like, nah, you really don't. And my mind does not yet have the proof and that I can be safe. Mostly financially. I think that's the one that trips all of us up, because we're in a system that requires us to do certain things and behave certain ways in order to make money, in order to pay a rent, have food. That's the safety, right? That's the safety part. And so I'm just been feeling into this energetic change where that may not be how we operate in the future. I don't know what that looks like if we're not making and earning money and, participating in more capitalist kind of society. I have no idea what it would look like otherwise. I asked a friend the other day, I said, what do you think that would look like? Because everyone's feeling it, I feel like. If you're sort of spiritually tapped in, you're kind of feeling this shift away from the traditional way of operating in the world. Do the thing, make the money, have a good life. And we were sort of going back and forth about what does that look like? What could it look like if we're not doing that? And honestly, I don't know, but it's like I can feel it. It's like I can hear the whispers in the wind of what's coming, this new way of being. And, like I love Lee Harris, and his book, The Future Human, talks a lot about what that could potentially be, this new way of being, this consciousness shift, this, 5D way of being, this more collaborative approach. Like Pam Gregory, who's an astrologist, talks about we're now in the age of Aquarius. So it is more about a collaborative approach, like working with people, less about what can I get and more about what can we do collectively. So maybe it's more of a collective kind of looking after each other. So yeah, it's really kind of hard straddling the world between this kind of capitalist kind of system we're still in that is shifting and changing, but we're not yet in the new thing. And listening to my intuition that feels like it's guiding me to be more in the new thing of just go with the flow and relax and trust that I will be looked after. And I've just kind of taken it on as an experiment and being like, okay, I could hustle and grind and, for example, create like an e-commerce business around my art, because I've done that in the past. I had an e-commerce business. I know what to do. I could do it. And yet I just can't make myself do it. And I feel like this is the choice. It's like we either put our heads down and do what doesn't feel right to do what we've always done and see what results we get. Or I could continue to really lean into this new energy, this new way of being, and just see what happens. And I joke to friends, I say, look, if I end up broke and I need to go take a job at a cafe, well, okay, great. That was the experiment. That was how it went. And, you know, that's still life. Like, we're here, you know, on this earth school to experiment and to learn things. And if that's the lesson, I'm like, okay, I don't think it'll get to that. Like, I've got lots of other things I could do before it gets to a cafe job, but I'd be willing to do it because I want to go all in on listening to my, listening to my intuition and my higher self. And I got this beautiful message the other day when I was freaking out, you know, having my little mind freak outs about life, and I got this beautiful message of I can hear my intuition very well. I can hear my higher self. I get lots of guidance. And the message was, you know, if I have this much guidance and I know how to take action on the guidance, why would that guidance lead me to a place where I'm suffering, or lead me to a place where I'm not supported, i.e. broke, for example? And I don't know, that just really hit home. It's like, I can trust my higher self. I can trust my intuition to lead me to where I need to be going. And that's always going to be the best place for me. There she goes. Can you hear my puppy? Blessy, come here. Come say hi. See, I'm not going to stop recording. I'm just going to bring her over. Come here. She's like, what are you doing, Mom? Okay, no, she doesn't. I was going to show you guys my new little puppy. She's very cute, but she doesn't want to come over. So it's this like experiment of following your higher self and trusting that they've got your best interests. And that's not to say that suffering. Blessy, come here. Come here. She's finished the chew toy. And this is how I'm rolling. I'm just going to keep going whilst I get my little puppy here. Come here. I have to carry treats in my pocket to bribe her. So now I'm almost finished, guys. So I'm just going to bring her. Here she is. She's very sweet. So I'm going to hold her here while she hopefully stays quiet. She's in that lovely little puppy stage. So sometimes that doesn't mean that following your guidance doesn't bring what we would perceive as bad things into our lives, because everything that comes into our lives is here for a good reason, right? And it can take a while to see the good thing in the bad thing sometimes. But I always believe it's there. And so I think sometimes we can get caught in this idea that if you follow intuition 100%, nothing bad will ever happen. Because sometimes those bad things are needed to get us to where we are, or where we need to be going. So that's kind of some of the thoughts that I've been having. So my main kind of thought was, sorry, my dog is going nuts. All right, that's a time for me to get off. So my main thought is just to really take that time to rest, to take the 5-10 minutes to listen what's going on, what are those intuitive drives, and can you be brave enough to follow them? Even if the mind doesn't agree, even if the mind is like, this is not going to work, can you just give it a go? Because I think that's where we're heading. We have to be listening to these nudges more and more as this energy ramps up. We'll just see where it takes us. So anyway, I have lots more to talk about, but I'll leave it at 20 minutes here. It feels really good to be talking to you guys again, and I hope you're all having wonderful days. And if you're in a bit of a struggle zone today, I feel you. There's been lots of that with everyone I know, lots of tiredness, lots of exhaustion, lots of emotion. Just know that we're all going through it, and we're gonna get out the other side, guys. There will be the other side. All right, much love.